Our next question, Jim, sent to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com. I'll read one here from Kelly in Saskatchewan, but several people have tweeted or emailed this in. Here's Kelly's question. Curious to get your opinion on Eric Bischoff's recent claim that although Bret Hart's technical wrestling skills were not in question, only 95% of fans care about 5-star matches, it says here 5-star performances, and that storylines and character are more important. Bischoff falsely...
Wait a minute, I think you've read that or they've written it wrong, one or the other. He's saying only 95% care about that stuff.
Well, let me open
95% don't care about that. What is his point he's trying to make?
Here's another email that has the actual quote here.
Okay, that's in proper tense and correct.
There are a small percentage of people that live in this little 5-star match bubble, but 95%, or at least a vast majority of the audience, they want story. They want larger-than-life characters. They want to be entertained. Bret Hart, as great as he was from a technical wrestling point of view, was like watching paint dry.
What?
It was fucking boring. The numbers back it up, you know?
Oh, my God.
Bret Hart is a WWE World Champion and was probably, when compared to many of his peers during that time, a failure. A miserable failure.
What?
So Eric Bischoff saying that Bret Hart, boring and a miserable failure as WWE champion.
As opposed to the guy that he brought in and gave $1 million a year to that was the worst drawing WWF champion of all time, Kevin Nash. The guy that Eric Bischoff changed the pay structure of wrestling to sign.
And actually going back to Kelly's email here, Kelly asked at the end, if Eric truly felt Bret could not draw money, then why would he pay Bret more than Ric Flair, Lex Luger, and Sting combined in 1998?
Because he's revamping his opinion now based on whatever story he wants to tell this month. Here's the thing, and I'm not even knocking Bischoff at this point because, let's face it, everybody knows, and the people who haven't known, whenever he has showed up at places like TNA a few years ago or wherever, they are surprised to find out that Eric Bischoff knows almost nothing about wrestling. And I mean, that's not my opinion or my assessment or my statement. That's the opinion of almost everybody that does know something about wrestling when Bischoff shows up somewhere. They are shocked and surprised at how little he knows about wrestling. He bluffed his way in the thing, and he knows television, and he knows how to fucking talk good and negotiate and blah, 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 but he don't know shit from apple butter about wrestling. Bret Hart was not about having 5-star matches either. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But it's for Bischoff's layman's understanding at best of the wrestling business and not being able to go any deeper in it. Yeah, I'm sure he thinks, oh, yeah, Bret's all about the work, but, you know, Bret's matches made sense. Bret's matches had psychology. Bret's matches Bret's matches were great, not because of the moves he did, but because of the way that he did them, when he did them, and the ones that his opponents did as well. Am I articulating that for a simpleton like Eric as easy as I possibly can to make it understandable?
I think so.
What I guess Bischoff is entertained by story and drama means story and drama in the locker room, because the people that he pushed the most and gave the most money to had mostly shitty matches, tried to do as little work as possible, and most of the drama and story was involved with them in the backstage in the locker room with trying to get them to fucking earn the money that they were being paid. So maybe that's the kind of drama and story or whatever that he thinks is supposed to be in wrestling from guys with 6 moves that he stole from somebody else that made them stars. But no, that's ridiculous. Bret wasn't one of these indie level spot monkey goofballs that want to have the 5-star Tokyo Dome match at the expense of making it make any kind of sense in the world like we have now. Bret just was able to wrestle, have worked matches that still came off like athletic conflicts, make shit look reasonable instead of obviously bogus, where people were rolling their eyes, and was dedicated enough to the business not to pull too much of the backstage tomfoolery that all the people that fucking ATM Eric there paid millions to, because he liked to hang around with guys like that were just, he'd like to ride motorcycles and smoke cigars and fuck each other in the fucking ass, figuratively, not literally, like all the rest of the people he liked hanging around with. He couldn't understand somebody that was just doing their job and doing business properly, I guess. I don't know. Who am I to say?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to call Bret Hart boring. He was fantastic, and his matches hold up today.
And you can't have it both ways either. Either a 5-star match or boring. Even the 5-star matches, they're not boring. They're just goofy fucking gymnastics exhibitions, but they're not boring. So you can't have it both ways. But that's why I'm saying I've heard from a number of people over the years that Eric Bischoff's knowledge of actual wrestling, the wrestling business, how it should be performed or presented, or its history or beginnings or anything about it is very limited. He's good at conning people and letting him do shit.
And he's a really good performer on air.
He's a good performer, but see, the thing is, he didn't ever perform any wrestling. He had a match with Zbyszko. It was goddamn just the drizzling shits one time, wasn't it? Anything he did physically, he looked awkward and off-put, but he's a wonderful, smarmy, heel game show host type personality. So he's a great TV performer. But no, don't let him try to do anything physical because it looks like shit.
Larry Zbyszko surprisingly got really super over as a babyface during that period of time. And I was thinking about it the other day because I was listening to him on John Arezzi's podcast, where he's just hysterical calling in as a heel as the AWA champion. But he always had the funniest nicknames because they're kind of insipid, but they work. And I was thinking about New World Odor. But then the one I really started laughing about was Marcus Bag Smell. That's the one. That was my favorite one.
You never know about Marcus's bags.